I'd like to call the Municipal Airport Authority meeting to order, the February 11th meeting. And we all received the minutes from January 14th and January 28th. Are there any changes or revisions to the minutes? Hearing none, they stand approved as printed. Approve the airport vouchers totaling $102,975.19.
I'd so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the airport vouchers totaling $102,975.19. And can we have a roll call vote?
Engen?
Aye.
Haugen?
Aye.
Lind?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Madam Chair, can I just ask a favor?
Sure.
Can I ask for in the future, I think it's great you review the bills, but we don't review the financials, and to me, that's the meat and potatoes, and maybe there's a reason, but I think it's very important that we do that.
Okay. And you are getting the financials, because they send them out all the time.
No, but I mean as a board.
Okay.
That's, every other board that I'm on, you review the financials, the balance sheet, and all that stuff, and so if we're already getting them, that's great, but I think that's part of the responsibility of the board is to review financials. At every other board I'm on, that's what you do, so, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just so everybody knows, we do get the financials by email, and we peruse them, call Sean about them if we have any questions. So we do that on a monthly basis, and
But I just
I
think
understand what you're
it's very
saying.
important to do. This is public dollars. This should be done in public. The discussion should be in public, not in private. So that's just my opinion.
No.
That's what we do with the city, with the Fargo Dome, with any boards. I'm sure you're on other boards. That's what you do. And so I would just
Well, and
encourage
these are Municipal Airport Authority dollars. They're not City of Fargo dollars.
No, the more important thing is they're public dollars. They're not your dollars.
No.
They're not the city's dollars. They're public. We are merely stewards of the public money. And so this needs to all be done in public. Okay? Thank
You know, no, that's not a problem. And I'd like to bring up another thing for the public is that contrary to what one of our publications published today, a representative from the commission, Mayor Mahoney, said that 1 penny of the mill, 1 penny out of every mill goes to operations, and that is not true. That is absolutely not true. It goes to construction. Approve the.
We're probably best not talking about that article.
No, I think, and I'm not going to. But that was one really blatant.
It's
That
just
was
the
one
whole
really
thing.
blatant issue.
Upset me.
Number 3, approve the individual voucher as follows. Flint Communications, $9,323.54.
Motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Engen?
Aye.
Haugen?
Aye.
Lind?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye. Okay, Darren, do you want to talk about the authorization of the Oshkosh Echo EFP? I did look this up today.
Oh.
I can tell it's for foam. Okay, do you want to talk about it?
I think Chief Bush would.
Okay.
Well, Lynn, you two
Tag
partner
team
on
it?
Yeah, we are, we're looking into, I don't know, the foam has become quite an environmental issue. Recently, in the last few years, they've talked about the environmental impact of foam. The EPA is starting to mandate no-flow foam testing. So usually what we do is we flow foam out of our trucks, test the percentage of foam, and we just shoot it onto the ground. It's been standard practice for years. Recently they've come out with alternatives to do no-flow foam testing. We just push a button in our truck, the truck runs its systems, and it checks to make sure it's good foam, it's the right type, right percentage, and we don't spray anything on the ground. We don't. There's no environmental impact with the testing that we're doing. So to do that, we need to retrofit both the pieces of equipment we have, our 2 ARC trucks, to do that. And as far as the financials, I'm not sure of that, but that's what we're proposing.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
It is PFC eligible, so in the future application, we'll recover this cost under the passenger facility charge program.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
Chief, is that the foam testing, when you do that, you have to take a truck out of service, and how long is that out of service?
It's not out of service.
So you can,
We don't shoot enough foam to take it out of service. We're required to have a certain percentage foam on the truck for the water that we have on the truck. And the testing uses, it uses very little, but it's still the fact that it's shooting out of the ground.
shows the metering.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So when I was looking at their website, so the other option would have just been to buy a brand new one. Is that correct? Brand new. When I was looking, I just want to applaud you because I think this is being able to retrofit the equipment onto what we already have is good use of our funds.
Yeah, there are alternatives
Yep.
to what we're doing, but this is Oshkosh to Oshkosh, so that
That's
there, we know that we're getting something that fits with our trucks. The other options are going with an E1, which is a different vehicle altogether,
Yep.
but it will retrofit our trucks, but we're
Good.
not. It also brings in the other options we have, bring in more human air
Mhm.
into the equation. These are more precise,
Okay.
the testing that we're doing.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Yes.
Roll call vote?
Hagan,
Aye.
Haugen,
Aye.
Lind,
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye. Receive an update on the transfer of funds to First International Bank and Trust.
Okay, Steve Sprague, city auditor, informed me last night that the transfer was completed for the two accounts, the operations and maintenance and the construction and improvement fund. Those funds were wired to First International Bank yesterday. So right now we're maintaining a $500,000 balance in the checking account for the operations and maintenance and a $500,000 balance in the construction account, knowing that the construction account will be very busy this summer, so we'll be transferring funds back or not transferring funds out, depending on what the requirements will be to pay contractors and engineers and so forth.
Great,
So that was completed last night.
thank you. And just to remind everybody, we went through the RFP process and evaluated financial institutions. Received proposed agreement with Brett's Snow Removal.
For the past few years, Brett's has been cleaning some of our parking lots and relieving our staff of doing that. The employee lots just to the east of the terminal building towards the control tower, these terminal lots over on the Air Museum and South G area, and then the customs lot. And Stacy put together an agreement with Brett's, very brief agreement, with the exhibit of what lots that they are managing, their new 2019-2020 hourly rates, and we got it here before you today to approve.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Just a voice vote.
All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Motion passed. Number 7, authorize grantee letter of concurrence to United States Customs and Border Protection.
This was in your packet as part of the Foreign Trade Zone. The Airport Authority acts as the grantee. So DigiKey, which has, oh gosh. So north of the airport, it's actually up in, we have a bigger map. In this section up here, DigiKey has a number of buildings that they're operating out of, I don't know, 300 to 500,000 square feet of space. And about a year ago, we engaged with their law firm and a foreign trade zone consultant to start the process of activating that property to take advantage of the foreign trade zone. So now it's coming to the point where they've engaged customs. There's been some inspections that have taken place of the property, and as grantee, we have to provide them a letter of concurrence for the application for activation of the sites that are just north of the airport here. The next part of this will be for us to approve, and hopefully at the next meeting we can approve a foreign trade zone operator agreement with them. Currently our zone schedule calls for each company to pay $15,000 a year. We haven't set that up as a profit center, so right now the Case New Holland plant is paying $15,000, but what we'll probably do is leave it at $15,000 but then offer them some type of a discount. And I've been working with our consultant Greg Jones at the Foreign Trade Zone Corporation to come up with an idea that they would be discounted probably about $5,000. So in the end, it would be $10,000 for DigiKey once they activate, and then the new invoice to Case New Holland would be at $10,000. We've also got another company that is real close to the activation as well. Been working with Bobcat, and we'll see if we can get that done yet this year as well. So So your approval today would be the concurrence letter with the application for activation for DigiKey Corporation. Operator subzone number 267A, site rep.
You know, I think a lot of people don't realize that the initiative that Sean has taken with this, when I was doing stakeholder interviews a couple years ago in Case New Holland, they saved $264,000 by setting up the foreign trade zone. Something like that. And it's just amazing the benefit. And it's also, when I did that interview, a credit to our director, because that's something that he has learned over the years and is able to benefit the community and the businesses here. So, does anybody have any questions?
I'd motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Good job. Let's see. All right. Part of the MOU with the city was to discuss the appointment to an airport position evaluation committee, the PEC. Yes.
Yes, I'd make a motion that the chairman be appointed
Okay.
and a non-airport authority member be appointed, and that is someone who's had experience
Mhm.
in this, and that would be Don Calander.
Okay.
Move that both of you be appointed.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Open to discussion.
I know that you and Don were both on a committee reviewing Sean's past job description
Mhm.
reviews. So I think both of you would be good. Also, just for information, I talked to the mayor last night right before your city commission meeting, and he said that he's asked someone, but he hadn't heard back yet. So,
Okay.
So we're marching in the right direction.
Okay.
Anyway, I think.
That's great.
Madam
Yes.
Chairman, do we have a timeline for the creation of this? I guess the commissioners here, you know?
As soon
well-
as you do it. And it's great that we're doing this. It's awesome.
I think the word that the mayor gave me was he'd hope to have it done by the end of this month. So,
And the MOU states that as soon as everybody's appointed, that's when we would
Yeah.
proceed.
because
So,
remember, the two other people have to select the third, so it's
Yep.
still a fifth, I guess.
okay.
Yeah. So, okay.
Any other questions or comments about it? And I will abstain from the vote because my name is one of them and we would, okay.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Okay, number 9, authorize attendance at the 92nd AAE Annual Conference.
Conference in Denver. I know Darren and I will be attending. The early bird registration was last week. I know General Huggan has attended in the past. Great Lakes chapter that I'm president of has one of our 3 required meetings of the year take place out there in Denver at this conference. So any board members welcome to attend.
I would, Madam Chairman, I would encourage too our liaison to, if they're at all interested.
Yeah,
It's a good conference. There's some good training sessions that go on, plus just a lot of vendors that, so the
Great.
what you learn there is
okay,
quite good.
Yeah, okay.
Do we need a motion?
Yes,
Motion.
Second.
all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Airport construction and security updates. Anything?
Jeff's got a handout here, an update that he handed out on the
Yeah.
cargo apron, some revised estimates. We'll go through that quickly.
Okay.
Darren put his art skills to work this weekend. Did some
Like it.
photoshopping for us. So what I handed out here was a cost estimate for cargo apron expansion that you see up here. So what the airport authority is doing is everything that you see in blue. And then UPS and Bemidji Air are taking care of everything that is in orange. It's a separate project, but a lot of coordination is involved just to make sure that they're both being constructed properly. So on the back of this thing, I have a total project cost for the blue now. This excludes anything in orange, of $19.3 million. I expect that to be fully eligible by the FAA, funded at 90%. So the federal share is about $17.4 million. And you can see there that the local share is just under $2 million. Then if we go further down the line, the FAA gave the airport authority $10 million in supplemental funding to put towards this project. And then on an annual basis, the airport authority receives roughly $3 million of AIP entitlement dollars. So there still is a small balance left over of entitlement money left over from 2018 because that the 2018 project came under budget. So there's about $125,000 there. There was not a 2019 grant, so that money carried over, and then of course there's a 2020 allotment of $3 million. So what is available to the airport authority in 2020 is about $16.1 million. You need about 17.4. Now, we met with UPS last week and we set a completion date of September 3rd of 2021. So much of this construction will be happening next year. When that happens, then you'll get another $3 million in 2021. So that'll push you over the federal share amount. Some things to note here, I still have a 10% contingency in this $19 million amount. So that's, that is factored in. I have the engineering design amount in there, which the airport authority and Mead and Hunt are under a contract for right now. We've expended those dollars. Of course, there's construction engineering as far as inspection, construction, staking, testing, all that kind of thing. That contract will be coming forward, and then there's just I included a small token amount for project administration as far as audit costs and project closeouts, any miscellaneous costs associated with the project, and then there was a wetland delineation that was done back in 2018. That money has been spent, so those are in there. In here, it's an itemized breakdown. The big ticket items obviously are the concrete. The last concrete paving project that we did back in 2017 for Taxiway Alpha, the concrete ranged from $80 to $95. So it's a fairly wide range. I've estimated $90 a square yard. Bituminous pavement, another big ticket item in here, ranged from like $67 a ton to $95 a ton. I've estimated $90 a ton. So those big ticket items will, just a small dollar amount in the unit price will, tend to fluctuate the overall project amount by quite a bit. So, did you have a question?
Just one quick thing. So I think it's great you're getting this done. The diversion, once that starts, and that is going to have an impact on especially cement costs. And so to get this done before that kicks in, I think there's going to be an escalation in the cost of lots of homes once that starts going. So I think that's a good thing. That's my editorial comment. I apologize for that.
Yeah, and the contract will be executed this spring. So, and the FAA does not allow for escalation in unit prices for the project. So. Do you have a question?
Yep. Jeff, the original estimate was 17 million, is what I've been had in my head for quite a while. What's the increase in price due to concrete prices or what?
Several things. The original estimate, I didn't include the design. That's itemized out in here. Of $836,000. It was a construction estimate, or based on construction costs. That wasn't in there. And then as we're going through the design, the FAA was making us put in shoulders on taxiway Charlie 5 here. Nowhere else on the airfield are there shoulders. The airport authority has been able to avoid that for the number of years. They're required by the FAA now, and it's payment and it costs a lot of money. So, I mean, that's a big item.
You can see that just from, it's quite a bit wider than,
Correct, yeah.
you know. Would you, I know that some of this operation is more complex because of our de-icing capture. But would you just do an overview of not only the blue, which is, I guess, basically concrete, but some of the orange, what UPS is planning, just, I know some of it's proprietary and they don't want to probably talk about certain aspects of their business, but it's hangar, it's what?
Correct. So right here, there's the darker color orange is UPS's sort facility that they have. And then over here, there's another hangar. The size is to be determined. I don't know. It's
Not final.
Yeah, it's not final. It's a hangar for Bemidji Air, separate company that flies all the feeder aircraft for UPS to their final destinations. And then there's just payments surrounding the east and west sides of the sort facility for the delivery of semi trucks, that kind of thing. And then there's a piece of payment over here for their GSC, which is their ground storage equipment, as far as their ground handling equipment, their canisters, that kind of thing. So
I know that the size of the hangar that FedEx has there, they keep 8, I believe it is, light cargo airplanes in there
yeah,
overnight.
right.
So that gives you a relative size of what.
Correct. And I've seen versions of this hangar right here for Bemidji Air that's had up to 15 aircraft in it. I've heard, sometimes they may want to downsize it to 6. I mean, it's unknown right now. So.
Any other questions? Great overview.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, this is Eric. Can I get a copy of that handout?
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other,
Snow
anything
removal
else?
equipment building is still under review with the FAA.
Waiting for the
Yeah, so
FAA.
that,
Pushing as hard as we can.
so it's there. They're going through the eligibility of the snow removal equipment building that
Okay.
we hope to break ground on this spring. Nothing security-wise. We were turned down for how many? 6 times, 7 times for a 3rd lane request at our checkpoint. The idea was, and the federal security director supports, is that a new piece of equipment is showing up at the checkpoint to replace one of the 2 extra units at the checkpoint. This new piece of equipment, while it's high in technology, is slower than what we have. And our wait times are already long enough. The idea is that they would deliver this new piece of equipment and keep the one that it's replacing and just use it for a 3rd lane. And that fell through the cracks here over the weekend or on Monday. We've rallied all of our airline folks, our airline security folks, and our customer service people to write some letters to the TSA and others to support getting a 3rd lane here. Our wait times in the morning can be up to 27 to 30 minutes, and we have a lot of people here that push the limits in Fargo thinking, well, I can get there 45 minutes before flight time, and the door closes and they're still in the checkpoint, and that happens a lot in the mornings. We've done what we can with social media, with the airline sending out text alerts and others, Delta, United, American, to get to the airport early, especially for the morning launch because it's really busy. They can put over 500 people through in an hour in a checkpoint that's designed really for about 300 people an hour. So we're really concerned when the new piece of equipment comes, there's going to be a learning curve for the employees. They'll probably have throughput of about 90 people initially, ramping up to a max of 125, where the machine that it's replacing is at 150. So 2 lanes, 300 people an hour is kind of what the checkpoint is designed for. So we're trying.
So are there any other options? So
refuse the new machine would be one, but I don't think that's too late now for that. So we're just going to keep putting pressure on. Dave Dorgan, our federal security director, has been very supportive, along with his regional director, but we don't meet the volume requirement. But they won't tell us what the volume requirement is. And believe it or not, January of this year versus January of last year, our traffic was up 17.9%. So we start 2020 up 17% in traffic, over 43,000 passengers versus 37,000 in claimants in January of 2019. So, and this trend's going to continue. March is going to be an absolute, going to blow all the numbers through the roof with 60-some thousand seats in the market, and we'll fill probably 90% of those. So we'll surpass the 50,000 mark, I'm pretty certain, in March.
When is the new machine going to come in?
To be determined.
Okay.
Other than 2020, that's all they tell us, sometime
Okay.
this year.
I think that would be, oh,
No, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, if you look at the number of seats available, from 5 in the morning till about 8, there's between 800 and 850 seats leaving Fargo. And to say that we're going to squirt everybody through security with a slower machine is ludicrous. We need to, I don't know if we have to go to the congressional delegation and say, hey, because it seems that works pretty well with the FAA, but we've never really had to do that with TSA or Homeland Security.
We have for when they've threatened to cut funding for the LEO reimbursement program,
Oh, yeah.
or the exit door staffing. Right now, the TSA staffs the 2 exit doors. The president's budget that was just released on Monday cuts the funding once again for exit door staffing and for LEO reimbursements. So the Fargo officer that's here under the Homeland Security agreement, we get partial reimbursement from the TSA for that, but the airlines pick up the rest of that cost.
But with if you look at our future, with adding another 3 gates and the stuff that's, I mean, we're at capacity here, and you can't ask the airlines, well, simply reschedule, because they have connecting flights that everybody's trying to get on. So it's
Do you
5
think
in the morning.
if we reach out to Kramer and Hoven?
I'll chat with the FSD to make sure.
Okay.
So they go through a congressional contact at the Homeland Security that's assigned to the TSA, and
Okay.
we'll work something there. But we're just trying to get the data.
Yeah.
And we've begged for the data, and they won't show us what the data is. Well, how close are we? Are we meeting it? Are we way behind? It's like a moving target all the time, and they've never shared with us the data. Bismarck has 3 lanes and has a fraction of the traffic.
Yeah.
So makes no sense.
And I think if we know March is going to be really busy, I'm sure Flint's working on a kind of being proactive about making sure the public knows that to expect, to expect some little bit of slowing.
And the airlines are as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Got a meeting with Delta Network Planning in Atlanta next week, so to go through what their plans are for late summer, fall, and the winter. They're planning already for fall and winter. Summer's done, so we'll see what we can do. Trying to get Salt Lake City service back, but time will tell.
Anything else? I want to just,
I got a question.
okay.
Sean, do we have any square footage for a 3rd lane in the TSA area?
Yes, we do have, I don't know what the exact square footage is. We had Mr. Stroh put together a map moving the walls out on each side, which when the checkpoint was designed, the walls could move out. So we do have what we believe is adequate space for a 3rd lane. So we think we're covered there. Exactly how many more square feet, I don't have that number for you, Eric.
Okay, that cuts into the gate space on gate 2 and gate 3, correct?
A little bit, but we're moving it out to where there's existing pillars, so we're really not losing much for seating. It's more of a walkway, I guess, if you will. It'll make it a little bit more congested in the gate 2 and gate 3 area, but nothing significant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Starting at our next meeting, I'm going to ask everybody to think about someone who's made an impact and what I'd call a high flyer recognition. It's going to be nothing exciting, but I think there's so many people that are involved in the airport authority that make really a huge impact. I'd like to challenge you guys if anybody can nominate someone, and basically it's just to give a shout out to people who are doing a good job, because I don't think we do enough of that. So you can either let Sean or myself know. So that's it. Have a great day. Meeting adjourned.